Welcome back to English from A to Z. Today, we're doing a deep dive into something that, honestly, feels almost basic. Vocabulary.
Right. It seems straightforward.
Yeah, and if you ask anyone, any successful learner, researcher, teacher, how do you really boost your vocabulary? The answer's always the same.
Always. Regular listening and reading.
Mm,
Focus on context. That's the consensus.
it is. Overwhelmingly so.
And, that's exactly why it's so frustrating sometimes. Because this fundamental idea, this thing you have to do, it's become common sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the trouble with common sense, especially for self-improvement, is it rarely turns into common action.
You absolutely hit the nail on the head there. That's it exactly. Most learners, they know the rule, right? They get the theory.
Yeah, they understand it intellectually.
But then, they get 20 minutes free, and what happens? They slide back into things that are passive or just distracting.
Scrolling through social media, or like the research noted, watching analysts' funny cat videos.
Instead of doing the one thing that's actually guaranteed to make a difference. A real, lasting difference.
So, look, if you're already someone who carves out time every day for focused reading and listening, fantastic. Seriously, you're ahead of the game.
Keep doing what you're doing.
But if you're maybe the person who gets the idea, you understand why context matters, but you just haven't quite made it a solid habit yet. Well, that's who we're talking to today.
Yeah, our mission today is pretty simple. We want to go beyond just saying learn words in context. We're going to outline two really powerful benefits, ones people often overlook, that kick in once you turn that common sense into like a daily habit.
Cognitive benefits, psychological ones. We're going to argue this habit isn't just about learning words. It's more like remodeling your brain.
Okay, let's start with that foundation then, because you said it's critical. Why is context non-negotiable? Why is this input the best way?
It really boils down to the richness of the information you get.
Okay, so say you're reading an article maybe about, I don't know, business strategy. You see a new word.
Right. You're not just getting a dictionary definition in isolation. You're absorbing this whole package deal that comes with the word.
What's in the package?
Well, the grammar around it, for starters. The kind of sentence structure it likes to live in. The tone. Is it formal, casual, technical? When should you even use it?
That's totally different from the other method, the one our sources called, well, frankly, stupid.
Haha. Yeah, blunt, but maybe accurate. That's the approach of grabbing a list of words, often like really advanced ones, and just trying to hammer the definitions into your memory one by one.
It feels productive, though, doesn't it? You finish a list and think, wow, 50 new words.
It feels like fast progress, yes.
Yeah.
But the amount of usable knowledge you've gained is, well, it's almost zero.
Okay, give us an example.
Okay, let's take meticulous. If you just learn it from a list, you know the definition. Shows great attention to detail.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
fine. You know what it means.
But the person who learned it contextually, maybe reading about that meticulous accountant in the business article.
Exactly. They know so much more. They've seen it applied probably to professions or planning meticulous preparation. And crucially, they've absorbed its slightly formal, positive feel.
Ah, so the list learner might misuse it.
Very easily.
Mm.
They might say something like, I meticulously poured my breakfast cereal. It's technically correct, definition-wise, but it just sounds weird, off, funny even.
Because they miss that tonal data.
Right. The context learner avoids that pitfall. Their passive knowledge starts becoming active, usable fluency much faster.
And zooming out, looking at the long game, this contextual way, it's the path to becoming an independent learner, isn't it? That seems huge.
That's the real payoff.
Yeah.
True freedom. When you constantly take in this contextual data, over time, you build this ability to self-correct, to sense when something sounds a bit off.
You don't always need a teacher pointing it out.
Exactly. You start to feel it internally because your brain has stored thousands, millions of these little contextual data points, these reference examples.
Okay, foundation established. Context is king. Now, let's dig into those two big benefits we mentioned, the ones people might not think about. Starting with intuition.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting, I think, because it shifts language learning from conscious effort, like solving math problems, into something more automatic.
Okay, let's unpack that. What do we mean by language intuition? How does reading and listening actually build it?
Intuition is that gut feeling, that immediate sense of what's right without really reasoning it through step by step.
Like in a test.
Exactly. Think about a tricky multiple choice grammar question. Maybe a complex tense or an unusual phrasal verb. You look at the options. Maybe you haven't studied that specific rule in ages. You might have even forgotten the technical name for it.
Uh-huh.
But you just know which answer is right
Mm.
instantly. The other options, they just sound wrong. They grate on your ear somehow.
That feeling, yeah, that's gold. That's when the language stops feeling like a foreign object you're assembling and starts feeling like yours.
And where does that feeling come from? Pure volume.
Mm.
Sheer exposure to input. Your brain is an incredible pattern-matching machine.
Better than any computer.
Arguably, yes.
It's-
Every sentence you read, every conversation you hear, your brain is logging it, cataloging the patterns. So after you've encountered a particular structure thousands of times, even if you weren't consciously analyzing it, your subconscious knows the pattern.
Like training an AI, you said.
A great analogy. You feed it massive amounts of data, correct English sentences. Then when it sees a new sentence, it instantly compares it to that huge database. Does it fit the patterns I've learned? Yes or no?
So the person just memorizing grammar tables, they're trying to speak by consciously applying rules every single time, like building with Lego bricks and checking the instructions for every piece.
Kind of, yeah. It's slow and laborious. But the person who's built intuition through input, they have the subconscious engine doing most of the heavy lifting automatically.
The rules give you the blueprint.
But the input, the context, gives you the native-like speed and accuracy. You stop consciously thinking, okay, wait, is this past perfect or simple past? Your brain just serves up the option that fits the deeply learned pattern.
And you're saying learners often overlook this. They focus too much on the conscious rules.
Massively. It may be the biggest oversight. They pour energy into the rules, which are important, don't get me wrong, but they neglect building the most powerful tool for fluency. That internalized, intuitive sense of the language you only get from massive exposure.
Okay, so intuition is this amazing subconscious pattern matcher. What fuels it? That brings us nicely to the second big benefit, building actual measurable brain power.
Yes. And I love the analogy the research used here. Think of language input as mental conditioning, like physical exercise.
You want stronger muscles, you lift weights.
Exactly. You want a stronger, faster brain that can handle complex language processing.
Yeah.
You need to exercise it.
Yeah.
And focused input, listening and reading is that exercise.
Can we get specific? What cognitive muscles are we talking about? Let's start with listening, especially challenging stuff like fast native speech.
Right. That forces you to pay attention. You literally can't drift off when someone's speaking quickly about something complex. You have to concentrate just to follow along.
So it improves focus, attention span.
Definitely. It trains your concentration. But maybe more importantly, processing that rapid speech trains your auditory processing system to work faster, to handle information more quickly. And that speed boost, it helps with all kinds of thinking, not just understanding English.
And reading, that's a workout too, right? Especially novels or dense nonfiction.
Oh, absolutely. Huge for memory. Think about reading a long novel.
Okay.
You have to keep track of so much. Characters, who they are, what motivates them, their backstories, plot twists, many details about the world, and how it all connects over hundreds of pages.
Yeah, it's a lot to hold in your head.
It's intense mandatory memory training. Constantly retrieving, connecting, organizing information. That's serious exercise for your working memory.
And the sources suggested reading can go even deeper than just memory recall. Like it can actually change how you think.
Yes, particularly challenging nonfiction or, say, philosophy. It's not just about remembering facts. It forces you to grapple with complex, abstract ideas, follow logical arguments, evaluate evidence that can genuinely improve your analytical skills, your cognitive flexibility. Some research even links it to increases in general intelligence.
Wow. Okay, so the brain gets stronger, faster, better memory, maybe even smarter. But let's connect this back explicitly to the learner's goal: speaking English well. Why does having a stronger brain matter for speaking?
Because speaking English, especially as a non-native speaker, is incredibly demanding.
Hmm.
Cognitively speaking, it's one of the hardest things you can ask your brain to do. It's pure mental effort, high cognitive load.
Right.
Think of your brain as like a computer processor. When you speak English, you're running multiple heavy programs all at once, in real time.
What programs?
Okay, you need memory to pull out the right words and phrases. You need attention to follow the conversation and what the other person is saying. You need fast auditory processing to understand their potentially rapid speech. You need reasoning to structure your thoughts and plan your response. And then you need the motor skills to actually make the sounds correctly.
All at the same time. Instantly.
All at the same time with basically zero buffer. It's exhausting just listing it.
It really is.
So if those underlying cognitive functions, memory, attention, processing speed are weak or let's say out of shape, speaking feels sluggish,
Hmm.
hesitant. You get tired easily. You stumble more.
Okay, that makes sense.
If you want that effortless fluency where you can speak quickly, clearly, maybe even wittily without feeling mentally drained after 5 minutes, you need a brain that's fit for purpose. Strong cognitive foundations.
So this daily input habit, it's not just about vocabulary or grammar practice.
It's the essential cognitive fitness training you need to actually perform the act of speaking well. It builds the mental engine required for fluent communication.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. This simple habit, it beats inefficient list learning, it builds that powerful intuition, and it literally strengthens your brain for the demands of speaking. There's one more crucial piece of context we need to address, though.
Yes, for potentially a large number of people listening, this isn't just a good idea. It's basically their only viable path.
You mean learners who are not currently living in an English-speaking country?
Precisely. If you don't have that built-in, unavoidable daily immersion, reading signs, hearing conversations, needing to interact constantly in English just to get by.
Then you have to create it yourself.
Exactly. Regular focused listening and reading becomes your primary, maybe your only way to immerse yourself in the language.
Yeah.
You have to build that environment deliberately.
And the research shows this works, right? There are examples of people reaching very high levels of fluency this way.
Absolutely. Anecdotes abound of highly fluent speakers who achieved that level entirely from their home country without spending significant time abroad. Their secret: they were religious about this daily input habit. They basically simulated immersion through consistent, dedicated reading and listening.
They use the language for intentional improvement, not just survival.
And that focused, sustained effort paid off.
Okay, so let's wrap this up for the listener. We started with simple advice: read and listen more, but we've seen the benefits are actually pretty profound.
Right. It builds a necessary language structure. It unlocks that subconscious intuition engine.
And it fundamentally strengthens your brain's ability to handle the intense cognitive workout of speaking English in real time.
The guarantee is pretty clear. Consistent, focused input yields compounded results. It builds your language skills, makes you more independent as a learner, and even gives you a bit of a cognitive edge.
So that brings us to the final thought, the challenge for you, the listener.
Yeah, here it is. If you accept that this simple habit, daily focused input, guarantees these compounding benefits, strengthening memory, speeding up your thinking, building that invaluable intuition, then what small, non-essential thing are you doing every day?
That funny cat video time slot.
Maybe. What little distraction are you currently protecting that if
Yeah.
you just swapped it out, you could start investing in this lifetime of cognitive and linguistic fitness instead?
The theory's easy, we know that. It's putting it into action that counts.
So challenge yourselves. Just 5 minutes. Replace one unproductive habit with 5 minutes of focused reading or listening. Start today.
Start building that mental muscle right now.
Take that first step.
We've laid out the tools, the reasons why it's so powerful. Now it's over to you to apply it. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.